It's really strange. Have all these people who went out to play ended up sleeping on the streets? According to official data from China, the number of people traveling during this year's Mayday holiday has increased overall. But within the industry of guest houses and hotels, they are reporting a significant drop in business. I came across videos from some guest house owners, and they're all saying the hotel and guest house business was really bad this year. I asked a few friends, and it's basically the same as last year.
This year's Mayday holiday has just ended, and many businesses across China are reporting that it was the worst year for business. According to the Chinese Ministry of Transport, during the Mayday holiday period from May 1st to May 5th, it was estimated that the number of total interregional trips reached 1.5 billion, with an average of 293 million people per day, marking an 8% increase compared to last year. Additionally, the Ministry of Commerce reported that during the same period, sales of key retail and catering enterprises in China grew by 6.3% year-on-year. But these official statistics don't seem to match what many businesses are feeling. More and more businesses are complaining on social media. This year's Mayday holiday business was terrible. It looks like a lot of people are out traveling, but no one's buying anything. The Mayday holiday is over. Let me summarize. This year has been the worst. It might get worse from here on out. The year after the mask mandates were lifted, some people started spending like crazy, fearing that they won't be able to buy things. Then the next year, things weren't so great. And now this year, it's totally bad. People are still going out to shop, but it feels like they're just window shopping. For example, a group of 6 or 7 people might go to eat a big plate of chicken, and normally they'd order a large portion, but now they only order a small one to taste it. Things are really bad, year after year. How is it where you are? I've asked a lot of people, and business is bad everywhere. Many restaurant owners have returned. Business is tough, everything's tough, and even businesses in tourist spots are struggling. Another Shanghai business owner complained,
During the Mayday holiday, a lot of people came to Shanghai. Look at how many people there are, but no one is spending. Everyone is just window shopping and doesn't want to spend any more money. No one is buying, and businesses are starting to feel the pressure. So many people, but no one's buying has become a common phrase for many business owners. They thought they could make a little more money this Mayday, but now it's a disaster. They've even lost money on rent. It's not just Shanghai. Beijing, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen are also seeing declining sales. What's causing this situation? There's only one explanation. It's the housing market. Property prices are falling, but mortgage payments haven't. For example, if you bought a house for 1 million yuan and it later increased to 1.5 million yuan, you'd subconsciously feel richer and want to spend more. But now, with property prices dropping from 1 million to 700,000 yuan, you'll start to save and reduce unnecessary spending. The debt pressure on residents in first-tier cities is also greater, and the squeeze on consumption is more pronounced when property prices fall. On top of that, with trade frictions, this year is really tough.
In fact, the data released by the Chinese government refers to the total number of visits during the Mayday holiday, not the actual number of individuals. This means that if a person visits the Great Wall 3 times, they would be counted as 3 visits. This statistical method isn't wrong in technical terms, but it can be misleading when trying to assess the public's actual engagement. Moreover, some in the tourism industry have expressed doubts about the reliability and value of these figures. Zhou Mingqi, founder of Shanghai Jingjian Enterprise Management Consulting Limited, wrote in an article that the official statistics are often exaggerated and do not accurately reflect the real popularity of the tourism market or consumer activity. Especially during holidays, the authorities frequently announce massive numbers of people traveling or visiting scenic spots, but actual operators report few visitors, high hotel vacancy rates, and a quiet market. Some tourism professionals argue that these statistics are more like policy propaganda tools designed to create a positive image of economic recovery and consumption revival, but they provide little help in market assessment or business decision-making. They urge the government to improve data transparency and publish more accurate figures on actual headcount and spending, instead of just using number of visits to paint an overly rosy picture. A hotel owner shared a video saying, I've just had to put all the money I earned during the Mayday holiday back into my expenses. Guys, I'm really shocked about how bad business was at my hotel this time. On April 30th, we sold at regular prices, then increased the price a little on May 1st, and then doubled the price on May 2nd. By May 3rd, we just managed to sell the rooms, but on the 4th, there were no bookings. Then on the 5th and 6th, not a single reservation came in. On the night of the 7th, we opened at the usual weekend price, and by 6 p.m., the group chat still had no orders. It's even worse than usual. Today it's the same. Only one booking has come in so far. Not just online, but even offline there are no orders. So who's actually making money during this Mayday? If we calculate like this, it would have been better not to have the holiday at all. Without it, I would have had regular bookings at regular prices. But now, after the holiday, all the money I earned has turned into costs. Another hotel industry insider released a video on May 5th saying that the hotel industry is facing a tough winter.
各位酒店老板，今年五一假期你去了？
Hotel owners, where did you go for travel during the Mayday holiday? How many days did your hotel have full bookings? Based on my data, the hotel industry's winter has already arrived. The statistics released by the relevant departments say 1.4 billion trips were made during the Mayday period. I don't know where they got that data from, but the hotel industry certainly didn't feel that 1.4 billion visits were made. Many of them must have been sleeping on the streets, in tents, or in small forests, not in hotels. This year's Mayday shows that consumer behavior has drastically changed. People are now staying within their own cities, playing within a 4 to 5 hour driving radius. Long-distance travel is basically non-existent, and prices haven't been capped. What does this show? It shows that business travelers are greatly reduced, and leisure tourists will also significantly decrease in the future. With both of these declines, the hotel industry will face survival issues.
And his guess might be correct. A netizen from Kaifeng shared a video saying that on their drive home, they saw people camping by the roadside. Also, in various parks, tents were set up everywhere. In terms of tourism spending, Shanghai's well-known influencer, Master May, shared his own experience, revealing that Shanghainese are visiting tourist spots but not spending money. He mentioned in his video that during Mayday, he visited many places in Shanghai, including popular areas like Nanjing Road, Huaihai Road, the Bund, and Xujiahui, as well as places where foreigners gather like Tonglefang. Based on reports and what he observed, he concluded that Mayday in Shanghai felt no different from a regular time. He said on May 6th, the first working day after the holiday, he met a friend at a cafe in Xujiahui in the morning. Because, first, it's cheap, offering a 38 yuan set with coffee and bread, and second, it's spacious, clean, and very few people were there. He said, on May 2nd, I was also at this cafe with a friend at 9 a.m. What surprised me today? Today, on the first working day after the holiday, the flow of people between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. was exactly the same as May 2nd. There weren't many people. In fact, the situation at this cafe is a reflection of Shanghai's overall weak consumer activity during Mayday. Master May added, even places like Xujiahui and Nanjing West Road, which should have been bustling during the holiday, had very few people. The holiday and non-holiday periods felt almost the same. Another also posted a video saying, who says Shanghai was crowded during Mayday? Nanjing Road pedestrian street was empty, and the subway was empty. Was I not in Shanghai? The famous landmark Wukang Building on Wukang Road in Shanghai is another popular spot for influencers. Master May also went there during Mayday to shoot a video. He said that many people were taking photos. Many of them were just checking in at the famous spot without spending any money. He commented, now holidays in China are all about budget travel. Among the bustling crowds, many people are doing budget travel or trying to spend as little as possible. That's why the famous tourist spots are crowded, but stores and places where people actually spend money are empty. The holiday period and regular days are basically the same. That's what I observed. A Shanghai business owner also mentioned that many business owners are feeling helpless due to low-budget tourism.
今年的五一，上海的夜场直接来了一个大的滑铁卢。
This year's Mayday holiday was a huge setback for nighttime businesses in Shanghai. Many owners prepared as usual, expecting great sales like previous years, but ended up with no business at all. Many stores only had 5 or 6 orders, and a store with 10 or so orders was considered exceptional. The best stores, with some help from colleagues, all-you-can-drink offers, and other extras, managed about 50 orders, but the overall resources were almost halved. The quality of business also plummeted. Looking at social media, it was clear that everyone was out traveling.
Master May believes this phenomenon is not just happening in Shanghai, but in many places across the country. It's worth noting that according to official data, Tibet's retail sales grew by 11.1% year-on-year in the first quarter, the highest in the country. Master May said that in first-tier cities like Beijing and Shanghai, consumer growth has sharply declined. He questioned how some places managed to see a double-digit increase in consumer spending during the first quarter. His guess is that these are official numbers from the state. If you want to question them, you should question the official statistics bureau. The 3 years of the COVID-19 pandemic and the extreme lockdown policies implemented by the Chinese government severely damaged China's economy and led to widespread consumption downgrade. In recent years, the economy has slowed down. Many people have started to cut back on spending and adopt more cautious consumption habits. As a barometer of national consumption, Shanghai's performance during the first quarter and the Mayday holiday further highlighted the severity of this trend. Data shows that in the first quarter of 2025, Shanghai's total retail sales of consumer goods decreased by 1.1% year-on-year. In March, retail sales of goods plummeted by 14.1% compared to the same period last year. The Mayday Golden Week, which should have been a key time for consumption, failed to bring the expected boom. Instead, it continued a sluggish trend observed during the first quarter. Factors contributing to the lack of consumption include low consumer confidence, concerns about the future economic outlook, lower disposable income, lower real income, a slumping real estate market, and pressure in the job market. There's employment instability for young people and the middle-aged group, which has further intensified the cautious attitude towards spending. The Mayday holiday was originally established to stimulate consumption and economic growth. By aligning public holidays with weekends to create a continuous break, the government aimed to encourage people to travel, shop, and engage in entertainment, thereby boosting domestic demand. However, this year's actual situation shows that the traditional holiday consumption is weakening. The sluggish consumer market deeply reflects the current structural issues in China's economy. Additionally, according to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, the unemployment rate for China's youth aged 16 to 24 exceeded 21% at one point in 2024. Due to the high figures, the release of relevant statistics was temporarily halted. In this economic context, college students and young white-collar workers have become the main force behind the trend of consumption downgrade. One of their coping strategies is to travel more cost-effectively. Budget travel is a concentrated manifestation of the consumption downgrade trend in the tourism sector. During holidays, many popular tourist spots are flooded with young visitors, especially college students. Their way of traveling is often referred to as commando-style tourism, packed itineraries, extremely low costs, and frequent social media check-ins, with an emphasis on efficiency rather than comfort. This year's Mayday holiday saw a rise in people traveling with their own tents, an extension of this type of budget travel. This approach not only dramatically reduces costs, but also reflects a new generation of young people redefining travel in response to economic pressures. In addition, hotel investor Zhu Xinjiang pointed out that the government's tolerance of sky-high hotel prices is essentially a short-sighted behavior that depletes social resources and overdraws economic vitality. He believes this policy direction and promotional strategy have not driven substantial economic recovery, but have instead created illusions and bubbles, adding more uncertainty to an already fragile consumer market. Zhu Xinjiang analyzed that during major holiday periods, mainstream media and local government propaganda often focus on reported crowded tourism spots, full hotels, and hard-to-get rooms, creating an illusion of booming tourism. However, the actual industry feedback often shows a significant gap between figures and reality. Many frontline workers and investors feel that the market is distorted by short-term price inflation, and the sharp contrast after the holidays is the frozen consumption effect. Take the 2024 National Day Golden Week as an example. The price of some high-end guest houses in Zhejiang's Mogan Mountain soared above 6,000 yuan per night, with some popular guest houses even increasing prices to over 10,000 yuan before the holiday. This led to dissatisfaction and last-minute cancellations from customers. This inflated pricing not only failed to improve customer satisfaction, but also created a negative cycle of high prices and shrinking experiences. However, just 3 months after the holiday, these guest house prices quickly dropped by half, even falling below one-third of the peak season price. Many properties remained vacant for long periods, and operators faced losses. Moreover, Zhu Xinjiang pointed out that this superficial bustle cannot sustain long-term industry development. Rather, it fuels blind expansion and irrational investment. Many investors lacking industry experience were misled by the booming holiday data and thought that hotels were cash machines. This led to them entering the market blindly and an oversupply. Once the off-season and economic downturn set in, these trend-driven assets became heavy burdens, eventually dragging down the entire tourism industry. In reality, the prosperity of hotels and guest houses during holidays is merely superficial. It reflects the concentrated manifestation of the three lows dilemma: high bubbles, low conversion, and low satisfaction. Simply put, holiday short-term booms create false prosperity, but the conversion rate into long-term customer loyalty or regional economic vitality is extremely low. After experiencing high prices and poor quality, consumers lose confidence, further damaging future travel plans. This phenomenon deeply reveals the structural fractures that China faces during its post-pandemic recovery. Without significant improvement in consumer confidence and with sluggish disposable income, even with more holidays and more hype, consumption recovery remains a distant goal.